Hi everyone, so let's continue with the jaw. Okay, so jaw is similar to the neck and the head, so what we do is okay, Control G. Okay, now group. Okay, let's select the jaw joint followed by the now group, constraint, parent, constraint. Okay, maintain offset, turn off, add. Okay, so we get the rotation as well. Let's delete the constraint node and let's call this jaw underscore group. Okay, I'm going to use the globe control. Okay, so Control D my template, unhide it. I'm going to parent it to the jaw group. Okay, press P and zero it out. Let's isolate it. Okay, I'm going to actually scale it down first. Okay, I find it's going to be a little bit kind of big. Let's have a look. There you go. Huge. Okay, because this controller I'm going to put it right in front of the chin. Okay, so imagine if it's super huge, right? So let's select the control vertices. Okay, I'm going to scale it down first, right, to something small. Okay, not so much in the way of the face, and then I'm going to move it. Okay, using the local axis, local orientation. I'm just going to drag it down here. Right, so you can see why the reason I did not create the jaw joint to the mouth area. Okay, because if to the mouth area, then your controller will probably be blocking your mouth when you're going to do expressions and stuff like that. So I put it to the front of the chin so it's not in the way of the mouth shapes. Okay, so that's the reason why the angle is this way, in front of the chin. Right, so this is my controller. Let's call this jaw control. Let's call CTRL. Okay, so the jaw group, we can just parent it straight underneath the head control. Okay, I'm going to drag it to the head control. Okay, there you go. So when the head control moves, okay, the jaw will follow as well. Okay, but at the moment now, if I select the controller and move, nothing is moving. Okay, so we still need to select your control. Okay, jaw control followed by the joint. Okay, jaw joint, constraint, parent, constraint, add. Okay, so now if I select the jaw control and I rotate it, okay, now I can open the jaw or close the mouth. Okay, right, so on and so forth. Okay, I want to move around my jaw as well, right to left. I can exercise the jaw. Now the next is the eyes. Okay, so the eyes is a little bit unique. So what I'll do is I'm just going to use a nub circle. Okay, I'm going to show you here. Okay, nub circle. Now this nub circle, now we don't really need to create any null groups. Okay, because for the eye controllers we are just going to freeze transform it. Okay, so I'm going to show you here. Let's create one. I'm just going to parent it to this eye joint. Press P and zero it out. Okay, kind of huge. Okay, let's scale it down as well. Okay, I like to use the front view to access the scale. Okay, again, I do not want it to kind of cross over to the other side. Okay, so I'm going to make it slightly smaller. Okay, I'm going to freeze the scale. Okay, now I'm going to just press Control D. Okay, let's hide the mesh. Press Control D. I'm going to snap it to the other eye joint. Okay, and then I'm going to freeze transform. Okay, how about this one? I think it's already kind of freezed. Okay, select both of them, delete by type, history, to clean anything down here. Okay, right, now the next thing I'll do is I'm going to select both these controllers. Okay, then I'm going to shift it out. Okay, let's move it out. Okay, you don't have to go through the control vertex mode. Okay, you don't have to do that. Just select them. Okay, just pull it up. Okay, how far away? Now you don't want to be too close. Okay, then your character might start to cross eye or something like that. Okay, so you want to put ample space in front of the face. Okay, enough. You can grab it easily. Okay, now so I'm gonna rename this as, oh, okay, the one other thing is you have to shift P. Okay, unparented. Okay, don't have to be parented underneath anywhere inside. Let's call this L_I ball underscore control, and the other one will be R_I ball underscore control. Okay, right, so this one we control the right eyeball, this we control the left. We need one more, okay, to kind of control both. Okay, so we need one to control both as well. Okay, now what I'll do is I will just select both. Okay, because I need to find the center of these guys. Okay, so select both control, press Ctrl G. Okay, you actually put them into a group. Now all you need to do is select that group. Okay, go to modify center pivot. You will get the center of these two control. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the group. Okay, I'm going to turn on my local rotation axis so that I can see the center point here. I'm going to select a controller. Okay, I'm going to create a NURBS controller. And then what I'll do is I'm just going to snap it here. Okay, snap, snap, snap. Okay, there you go, snap it there. Let's rotate it 90 degrees. Okay, now I like to kind of also change the shape a little bit, but I like it to look more like a binoculars kind of thing. Let me hide away my joints so I don't accidentally click them. Okay, select my control vertices. I like to scale them down. Okay, so they look like binoculars. I like to select the sides, scale them down a bit more as well. Scale them up. I want to make it a little bit more rectangular-ish. There you go. Select all of them. Let's scale them down. Okay, so you can see by manipulating the control vertices, I can kind of get that binoculars kind of shape. Okay, now so actually I create the group just to get that center pivot. Okay, so now that I already create my controller, I'm just going to freeze transform this. Okay, right, now so the group I don't need it anymore. I'm going to select these two controllers. I'm going to parent them underneath my this NURBS control. Okay, so I'm going to throw away that group that I created earlier for the pivot point. So now I have this group. Okay, I'm going to call this I_control. Okay, so when I grab the eye control, I can move both my eyes in synchronization. Okay, but let's say if I have a comedy gag whereby the character gets kicked in the groin or something, I can just just play with weird eye. Okay, cross eye or something like that, individual eyes. Okay, but most of the time when we animate, okay, we use the central control to kind of move the eyes in synchronized. Okay, synchronized movement. Right. Okay, so this is the control. So everything is freeze transformed. Okay, and also delete history by time as well. Okay, so make sure, right, everything is clean. There you go. So this is the controller. Right, now for this control, okay, I'm going to be using the same color coordination I have for the arms. Okay, so for the left I'm going to use red. Okay, for the right I'm going to use blue. Okay, the centralized one I'm going to be using green. There you go. Okay. Right, so next is our connection. Okay, so this is a little bit unique. This is what we'll be using the aim constraint. Okay, so wherever this controller moves, okay, your particular joint, okay, eye joint have to kind of eyeball, okay, and point straight to that controller. Okay, so how to do this? Okay, first things first is we need to identify. Okay, go to object mode. Okay, we need to identify the pivot or the axis. Okay, I'm going to isolate the joint and the controller. Now, so if you take a look, the eye is pointing to the next joint via y-axis. Okay, so I'm going to open up my constraint, aim option constraint. Okay, so I'm going to open up my constraint, aim option. Okay, let's go to the aim constraint option. So in terms of aim, okay, the aim vector, if you want to take a look at this, is the same as your primary axis. Okay, so I'm going to be using, let me reset first so I can show you. I'm going to be using y. Okay, so y I'm going to change to 1. Okay, remember the y-axis pointing forward, and then for the x I'm going to just turn to 0. So at any one time there should only be 1, that is with the value of 1. The rest is 0. Now the up vector is basically your secondary axis. Okay, in this instance I'm going to use the z. Okay, so my z is pointing downwards. So in this instance what I'll do is my up vector I'm going to be using z. Okay, so change this to 1. Now the y-axis I'm going to put 0. So at any one time the up vector must only one that has a value. Okay, the other two is 0 out. Okay, I'm going to be using my z. Now, and then world up type, change from vector to object rotation up. Okay, and they will straight away ask you. So from vector, this is disabled. The moment I change to object rotation up, they will ask me for the object. Now the object that we have to type here is the name of your controller. Okay, so your controller is called L eyeball control. Let's copy and paste it here. Okay, now the world up vector, okay, this is very important. At the moment by default is putting at y, but it is positive value. Okay, that means y up. Okay, so the world up y, that means is pointing upwards. Okay, we want our z. Okay, up vector we are using z. Is our z pointing up or pointing down? Okay, if our z at the moment is pointing downwards, okay, then for your world up vector you cannot put 1, you have to put minus 1. Okay, which means they ask for the world axis. I choose y-axis, but instead of upwards, which is 1, I put minus 1, which is downwards. Okay, so let's recap. Aim vector, okay, looking ahead is y-axis. Okay, up vector is my secondary axis, which I choose z, and it's looking, okay, in terms of the world axis, y minus 1, which is down. Okay, and the world up object is my controller name. So aim constraint works like all other constraints. You must select the master, which is the controller. Select the controller first, followed by your eye joint. Okay, so your eye joint, okay, not the end joint, so the eye joint. Okay, click add. So if you do it right, you can see that the axis stays, it doesn't flip around. Okay, if your axis starts flipping, for example your z starts to go up or go side, okay, that means there is something somewhere that you did not key in properly. Okay, so make sure you key in properly. Alright, so now when I select the controller and I move the controller around, you can see now the joint is going to eyeball this controller. Okay, so it's going to be great for our eyeball rotation. right? So that's how aim constraint works. Let's repeat for the other side as well. Let's isolate the controller and the joint. Okay, so I'm going to copy the name of the controller before I open up the aim constraint option box. I'm going to change the name here, so this is now our right eyeball control. Okay, it works the same. Okay, if you look at my axis, it's the same as the left hand side. Okay, primary is Y. Okay, up vector is my secondary, which is Z, and it is pointing downwards. Okay, so that means the word up vector is -1 under the Y. Okay, pointing down. Okay, world up object is the controller name. So select the controller, followed by the joint, press apply. You can see the axis stays put, there's no flipping. That's good. Select the controller. Okay, test. Now it's going to eyeball the controller. Right. Okay. So that is done. Okay, now if I were to just grab the eye control, the main one, and I move around, you can see, okay, the eye joins the eyeballing it in synergy. Okay, so synchronization, right? So your eye don't cross, right? Unless you have a comedy gag and then you can cross your eyes. Okay, right. So now once we have that, we are going to ensure, okay, that we can make sure, right, the mesh follows the joint. Okay, so I'm going to do it straight right now. Right, so if you take a look at the mesh, okay, the mesh consists of quite a few things inside the group. Okay, your eye group, you have your cornea, you have your eyeball, you have your pupil. Okay, the pupil is connected to the eyeball, parented to the eyeball. Eyeball is parented to the cornea. Okay, so what we're going to be using, we're going to be using the cornea. Okay, now, so what I do is I select the joint, okay, the eye joint. Okay, I'm going to do it for the left hand side, followed by the cornea geometry. And I'm just going to use constraint, parent constraint. Okay, what we want is we want to make sure we click on maintain offset so that the eyeball don't start flipping around. Okay, so it stays where it was before. And click add. Okay, so now you can see when I move my controller, okay, my eyeball, okay, move around, and it's moving around the eye socket nicely. Okay, perfectly. Okay, it doesn't do anything strange like popping out and stuff like that. Okay, now if, for example, okay, you did a mistake. Instead of taking the cornea, okay, you take the eye group, what happens? Okay, I'm going to show you. I'm going to delete the constraint. Okay, I select the controller, sorry, I select the joint, okay, followed by the eye group instead of the cornea geometry. So the eye group, then I constraint parent. Now when I move my eyes, my eye controller, okay, something you will see is, you start to see that the eye starts to pop out of the eye socket. Move the other way. Okay, so it's starting to pop out of the eye socket. There you go. You can see now it cuts into the mesh. Okay, so that's why we don't take the eye group. Okay, because the eye group, the pivot point may not be in the center of the eye. Okay, so just watch out for this. Okay, so select the joint, okay, followed by the cornea geometry, constraint parent. Okay, I'm going to do the same for the other side. Joint, okay, followed by the right side, cornea geometry, constraint parent. So now select controller, should be able to kind of move the eyes around the eye socket. Nice and perfect. Okay, hey, hello. Right, so nice. Now for the movement of the head, okay, so now the eyeball follows, okay, but the head don't follow. So for now, what we'll do is we're just going to select the head joint, followed by the jaw joint. Okay, so head and jaw. Okay, so head and the jaw. Okay, I'm going to go to and then select the head mesh as well. I'm going to go to skin, bind skin, okay, I can use a simple close distance. I don't have to use geodesic voxel, right? This is the simplest for the skin and the fastest as well, closest distance. And I'm just going to add these two joints into the skin. Okay, so if I select the skin, click pen skin weight tool, you can see I have the head and then you can see I have the jaw. Okay, there's just two joints inside here. Now let's do the test. Okay, if I open the jaw, okay, right, not to worry about this, right? So in the later weeks, when we start to refine the skinning, okay, we will section out, okay, only the bottom half of the jaw is going to follow the joint. Okay, at the moment the blending is a little bit too much, okay, but not to worry. At least now when I move my chest, I can move my whole head as well. Okay, now for the ears, okay, I can just select the head joint followed by the ear, skin, okay, head joint again. You don't have to include the jaw, just the head joint and the ear, skin as well. Right, okay. Now okay, for the eyelids and the eyebrow, I'm not going to skin yet, okay, because we need to do a little bit of deformation, okay, before we skin it. For the teeth, okay, so the upper teeth we're going to skin it to the head, and the lower teeth we are going to skin it to the jaw. Okay, so the lower teeth can follow the jaw. Okay, so this one you can also do it. Select the upper jaw, upper teeth, and the head skin. The other teeth, okay, is going to follow the jaw. Okay, skin, bind skin. Okay, so when I move my head, everything else should move along at the moment. Okay, right. So when we start to go into the facial, the week when we're going to do a facial, then we're going to look at the tongue and everything else here as well. Okay, so but for now, this is the rough skinning we have for the head, okay, and the eyes. Okay, as you can see, the eye. Okay, so it's looking at the controller.